Have you ever wondered how much silver is left in the world, or more importantly, how long until this silver is gone? Well, we have the unique opportunity to answer these questions in this video, so sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and let's talk silver. Hey, what's up, Silver Stackers? Thanks so much for being here. This is Silver Slayer. I have updated the prize pool to my silver giveaway, and trust me, you do not want to miss it now, folks. I've been feeling extra generous. I said, you know what? I might as well throw this extra thing in that I have been thinking about considering, and you guys have just been so awesome lately. It's done. So, link is in the description or the pinned comment. You will regret if you do not enter. So, yeah, the whole conversation of how much silver's in the world, it's pretty straightforward. It can get a little messy, but we do know this. The top 5 producing countries being Mexico, Peru, Chile, Poland, Australia, China. These countries definitely produce the most. And we have a good idea of the top 2, Mexico and Peru. They accumulate 40% of the global silver supply. So we're going to look at how much silver's in these reserves, and then we're going to, which is in metric tons, and then we will convert that, I have my calculator, into ounces. And then since we'll know how many ounces, we will be able to look at the annual yearly demand and apply that, be able to see in how many years those reserves will be empty. Now we have to also incorporate factors such as increasing demand in the next 10 years from the green revolution in solar panels, EVs, 5G towers. We also have to incorporate silver as an industrial metal, so most silver gets thrown away. But we can also incorporate recycling and the use of, or how they'll be able to innovate, use less silver in electric vehicles. Like right now, it's 58 grams. They're trying to cut it down to 20 something. But then you have like the lifespan of windmills and these solar panels. But so there's a lot that goes into it, but that's not really the point. We can have that conversation, but the whole point is just how much silver's left and when are we going to run out. I think it's going to be a great video. I've covered similar articles to this, giving a somewhat of a time frame, but this is definitely the most informational and the deepest we'll ever go. So make sure you like the video, share it, and so let's jump into it. Links in the description. This is from usmoneyreserve.com. They're sharing this information from the USGS, the US Geological Survey, and that's where all of these numbers and these stats come from. How much silver is in the world? Gold is found on every continent on Earth except Antarctica. What about silver? More than 55% of silver is found on just 4 of the 7 continents. So how much silver really is in the ground? And by the way, silver is a byproduct. Most silver that gets dug up is found by accident. So to date, 1.7 more million metric tons of silver has been discovered around the world, according to the US Geological Survey, which is the USGS. The 4 countries producing the bulk is Mexico, Chile, China, Peru, and Russia, like I was saying earlier. Global supply from silver mines fell by 1.3% in 2019. The Silver Institute reports it was the 4th consecutive year of global supply declines. So that's really not much to say, though. I mean, yes, production has been getting cut back. Yes, we did exceed 1.12 billion ounces this year alone. So imagine what that number is going to be, but that's still not saying much until we get into the meat and potatoes. So stick around because at the end of the video is when we really get into this topic. How much silver is in the world compared to gold? Great question. Nearly 198,000 metric tons of gold have been mined over time. That's from the World Gold Council, compared with almost 1.74 million metric tons of silver. Therefore, the amount of mined silver far exceeds the amount of mined gold. Now, that is something that it really needs context to it, because that ounce, let's say the gold to silver ratio is 8-1, which it roughly is. That ounce of gold that gets dug up out of the ground is going to stay in circulation for a century plus, because gold is used as a monetary metal, so it's mainly used for coins and bars and jewelry and necklaces and watches. Yes, there's some gold in electronics, but it's mainly used for that stuff. So it gets melted back into more coins and jewelry, necklaces, earrings. especially since it's almost $2,000. People are willing to pawn their necklace or whatever. Silver, on the other hand, since it's an industrial metal, it's almost all used in technology, electronics. It's rarely recycled or rescrapped or reused. It's thrown away in landfills forever. So that ounce of gold that gets dug up out of the ground stays in circulation for a century. That ounce of silver that gets dug up out of the ground is thrown away within a couple of decades. Plus, nobody's pawning their silver necklace for $2.50 at the coin shop or the pawn shop, but they will pawn that gold necklace. So you can see how and why the incentive of silver recycling is much lower than gold, especially given that it's an industrial metal. So how much gold and silver are waiting to be mined? The World Gold Council estimates that 54,000 metric tons of gold remain to be mined versus roughly 560,000 metric tons of silver still below ground. Now that is the number that we're going to go off of, and as you can see how much silver is left in the world. 560,000 metric tons. So that's the equation we're going to have to put into our calculator. Let's give some more context though. Where can silver be found? In 2019, silver mines worldwide produced an estimated 27,000 metric tons of the precious metal, thanks in part to stepped up production in Argentina, Australia, Mexico, and Poland. And Mexico led global silver production in 2019, which is 6,300 metric tons, followed by Peru, 3,800, China, 36, Russia, 21, according to the USGS. Mexico and Peru by far are the biggest silver producers, and they got hit hard from COVID, and that really messed up the supply chain. Plus, you have the borders and the boundaries cut off from country to country. So supply disruptions plus production itself were in bad shape in 2020. So how much silver is produced in the United States? According to the USGS, in 2019, U.S. mines produced about 980 metric tons of silver with an estimated value of $510 million. Silver was produced at 4 silver mines as a byproduct, meaning they found it by accident, meaning they're looking for gold, lead, and zinc. If they find some silver, they'll take it, but they're not looking for it. And that's also from 33 other operations, including copper and gold mines. Alaska leads the country in silver production, followed by Nevada. So out of all countries, U.S. ranks number 10 for silver production. So here we can go into this. How much silver is left in the world? 560,000 metric tons of silver reserves remain around the world. That's from the U.S. Geological Survey. Peru's reserves lead the way, 120,000 metric tons, followed by Poland's 100,000, Australia's 90,000, Russia's 45,000. So now we have the equation. So we have to do 560,000 metric tons. So how many metric tons are in 1 ounce? So it here says that 1 metric ton is 35,274 ounces. Now remember, these are actual ounces, not a troy ounce, but it still will give us somewhat of an estimate. I couldn't find an equation to add troy ounces. I'm sure there is, but 3 grams, I mean, if you don't know what I'm talking about, an actual ounce, a standard ounce is 28 grams, a troy ounce is 31 grams. So we're talking about a 3-gram difference. Yes, that might be pretty big, but I mean, at the end of the day, we're kind of just trying to look at this, not too literally. So 35,274. So if we multiply that by the what was the number? 300 or 500? I just want to make sure. 560,000 metric tons. Okay, multiply that by 560,000. That means there is 19,753,440,000 ounces of silver left. Now that's roughly, and I might have even messed up this, and you also have to remember that we're going by actual ounces, not a troy ounce. If anyone could find a better equation to add the troy ounce in or anything, just let me know. But I'm just going off of what a metric ton is and how many ounces are, so there's 19 billion basically, or almost 20. So demand exceeded 1.12 billion ounces this year alone. So just doing simple math, that means, 19 billion left, demand seeded 1 billion, so 20 years. But you also have to remember that a lot of silver is thrown away. So the amount of time it takes for gold, a century, compared to silver, is probably an eighth of that, even smaller. But then the increasing demand this year exceeded 1.12 billion ounces. Imagine what the demand will be in 5, 10 years. 3 billion, 4 billion, more, less? Who knows? All I know is we just now started the green revolution. I was actually watching a documentary earlier where countries in Africa are now going solar, and it's helping them, I mean, astronomically with their transportation. They're turning these motorbikes into these bikes into electric bikes, and it's helping the economy. And it's insane. Like everywhere, even third world countries are already going green, going solar. There'd be solar panels all over. It's really showing that we are evolving. And even the commentator on that documentary was saying, the whole world is going green. Well, silver is used in photovoltaics, PV cells, which is solar panels. We are going to need probably 50 times the amount of solar panels we have today if we're talking about the entire world going green. Every automobile company by the year 2030 is also going to be electric, every single one. Volvo was the most recent I heard. I think another one as well. Every single one, though, will be making EVs by then. That solar panels, PV cells, and electric vehicles alone, that number of that amount of demand within the next decade is going to be mind blowing, unaccomplishable, realistically not. But then you also have 5G towers, silver lithium ion batteries, so on and so forth. Plus, silver is used in the medical world. I mean, silver is the number one performing asset for thermal conductivity, electricity, even light sensitivity. It's used in the medical world, colloidal silver. It's used in, it's used in everything. Silver nanoparticles are. It's honestly, it's the most critical element in the world, not just on the periodic table. So I don't see us. I don't see us having silver forever. If you're looking at 20 years from now, looking at annually, if you want to go by those numbers, I would probably say I would cut that in half. And actually, when I covered another article, interestingly enough, they said that by the year 2030 is when we would run out of silver. They said silver was the closest. It showed every element, and even gas and oil. Silver had the shortest lifespan. Gold, I think, was like the year 2045 or something like that. But the whole point is that silver is not going to last forever. So we're going to have to figure out a way to create more, find more. It's not just going to come out of thin air, poof, right? Whether that's boosting up recycling, right? Start recycling all this silver that is wasted and thrown away in these landfills, or mining innovation out of the Earth's crust. Since if that could work, that would definitely help. But there's only so much silver in the Earth's crust. Or our silver, they've confiscated gold before. They've confiscated the people's gold before. Why wouldn't they go for silver? I mean, and that was for less serious of a situation, confiscating the people's gold, than saving the Earth's planet, or saving the planet. But there's also another solution: space mining. You might think I'm crazy. If you're a frequent watcher of my channel, then you probably know that there's an asteroid headed towards Earth called 16 Psyche. It's covered with up to like $500 quintillion worth of precious metals. It's like a miles long asteroid, and they're saying that it's covered in precious metals. And NASA sent out a rover this year to go check the asteroid out, and they're going to try to mine this thing. And if they can, well, you know what the end of that is. You know the end of that story. So yeah, the whole point is, though, that something needs to change. And since we need silver to literally save the planet, if we're talking about zero net emissions by the year 2040 and global, climate change and global warming, silver is the key ingredient, but that ingredient's on very low supply. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here. There's a lot more I could have went into with even just the investing sector and all that, but I just wanted to highlight some of the main things. Of course, there's going to be people saying something that I didn't mention, but I've mentioned before or whatever. Hopefully you get the idea, right? This isn't supposed to be, oh, it's just giving an idea and a thought and a theory and looking at the numbers and having a conversation out of it. That's all it is. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you thought it was educational, informational, at least entertaining, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Let me know what you think down below. Also, make sure you go enter my giveaway. Thanks for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.